Live streaming is on.
Yeah, it's a little bit loud when it starts.
That's okay.
Yeah, hi people, everybody. I hope it starts because this program is still not very good working. Andreas Xertus showed it to me, and I thought
Yeah,
like it was like some pirate software. I don't know, but
yeah, I read
eventually,
about it a bit when I checked it out while I was installing the Minds stuff.
yeah,
So
guys, it's still offline, but I hope we can start because it has like a little delay.
okay,
Okay, it started. So, me and Lady Mud wanted to talk about things that we were talking with Zekler yesterday, and also I might share my opinion on the ideas that the mud flood research was bringing. So it's like,
yeah.
Lady Mud, maybe you start first. What do you wanted to say a couple of words about the yesterday's topic and stuff like this?
Uh, right, it's working now. By the way, it's up. And just 1 second. I just want to,
Yeah, take your time.
yeah, so I can at least read the chat. So I'm gonna have it next here. Let's see, Windows there. Cool. Yeah. There. All right. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying.
I said you
Yeah.
wanted to talk about some topics we were talking with Zekler yesterday.
Yeah. Yes. So I was I was thinking about some dreams that were that I still remember from my life, and when you were speak about dreams, and also my visit to hell, I was thinking of bringing up. So I remember I had a dream. This was before I was going to Paris, and my life was spiraling downwards, really. And I had this strong dream. It was really like a bad vision. So it was like a city, and there was water at the end of the city. And I was walking on the side of the wall. So I was not, along. I was not walking um, on the street. I was walking on the walls of the sides of the building. So it was just crazy. So it was illustrating that.
Yeah, it's not crazy. I've been experienced the same. So it's like when you go like this
Yeah,
and then you go like this and you're
yeah,
like, yeah, I know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was the feeling was that, well, sometimes a dream can seem to be, but it's how you feel about it also that's important. Sometimes you also get information, you know, um, from after you recollect and you ponder over the dream. So and later, and then the dream ended, and it continued. I'm not sure really, but I think it continued many years later, and then it ended with me sort of like on a water roller coaster that I just went straight into the ocean, and I was floating in the water, and the sun was shining and the sky was blue, and I was saved in the water somehow. So it's interesting with a baptism kind of, but it took many years before all that happened. And um, well, also when you were speaking about that wet dream, that was just so nice that when you continued telling more about the dream yesterday, because I listened to you exactly after I got back, and it was a real nice dream that you had. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's also involved with water. So as long as I was jumping into the lake or whatever was there, I was appearing in this, prison type of facility underground somewhere. So it was like very interesting because when I woke up, I was totally wet. So it's like I'm going through this water again when I wake up. I don't know.
Wow, that's really water can be sometimes water can be, like the Marine Kingdom. It can be something not pleasant, but it can also be a new life, or getting a new start. So that was very interesting.
Obviously, for those who breathe, you cannot like survive in the water for long as long as you're like not some type of yoga guy who cannot breathe like for 10 minutes. I don't know, but it's still you have to breathe sometimes.
Yeah,
So
and then eventually you will melt. Even if you get a straw and you get air, your skin will loosen up.
yeah, of course, it's like never ending story. You just we all dissolve in some type of water sooner or
Mm.
later.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So I also was having a poll or something on my group on Facebook. So people voted for me, voted for the topic of mud flood ideas. What ideas did it bring? So I might as well like mention all these ideas, and maybe you share your thoughts. Well, what do you think about this or that theory? The first one is the missing people. I
Yeah.
mean, that theory that at some certain point the cities were empty and they were inhabited just with some people who were cleaning up and stuff like this, and then some at certain point when the cities were ready to take back the inhabitants, somebody was releasing the signal and people were like arriving from rural areas or whatever, some camps, I don't know, and maybe kids and stuff like this. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, we do. We have found plenty of evidence, and I also checked out that guy who had found many stones that were heart shaped, with arteries and aortas and stuff. So of course,
Stellium.
yeah. So I agree with you, um, that we have lots of
I,
evidence.
I mean, is it like a separate theory at all? Because can we research it? Is it plausible enough to gain all this attention?
You mean that there was a period with no people?
Yeah, all this reset stuff, all these missing people. Is it plausible enough to continue on that?
Well, I'm still looking into it, so I guess it must be.
Okay, because we have plenty of evidence,
Mm.
of some, talking about the parasites. We started with this today. Uh, that some type of people, I wouldn't call them people, and they're definitely the agents of those who we call the Marine Kingdom, enforcers. I would call enforcers. Enforcers, those
Yes.
who have all the rights to um, use any means necessary, and it's like a license to kill. So it's like I don't know, mass murder, whatever you call it. So those enforcers are definitely some crazy people. But I was thinking about why are they so rough, and I figured that they were not people at all. They were like some different type, different breed. Those who are can only consume uh, blood related nutritions. Okay, you would
Mm.
call them vampires, but I wouldn't say it's like pure blood sucking type of creatures. It's not. I mean, it's something that we are not familiar with. It's like in English, I would call them werewolves, but it's not werewolves. It's like some type of creatures, like hybrids of those who consume people, who are like not cannibals, but those who are hunting people, and those who are like, it's like type of jackals type of stuff. So it's like aggressive, but not not primarily, not the alpha predators, right?
Mm.
So, and actually, they are the ones who are, screwing up as much as we know about all the sacrifices and stuff like this. It's the leak that comes from them because they're also always not that smart enough and very, um, very not trusted. I don't know how do you call it. So it's like not very good secret keepers. I would say like this. Not very good conspiracy hiders. I don't know. So it's like they are the ones who we can say thank you for letting us know all this information about all the sacrifices and all the stuff that people do in our days.
Mm.
Okay, so and they're the fault of all these cleanups because when you have a cleanup situation, you have this hunt, you have this like survival game when once the ones I've been talking about right now are hunting those who survive, and this is how they clean up the city and get it under control. And those crazy creatures are probably in use, and it's definitely not a very big secret right now already because people started talking about it. And the next theory that Matvat brought us is the theory about those millions and millions of skulls and bones that were cooked and stuck into some
You mean in
str-
the
strange things. We were talking about it when we were talking about Notre Dame and stuff like this. All this uh,
the catacombs?
catacombs, right?
Yeah,
It's everywhere. So those catacombs
it's
stuck
international.
stuck with all these bones that were cooked by somebody, and people were consumed. So I mean, so there are a lot of followers of those creatures, and all those communities are probably related to the elites. So I would say it's not a big secret anymore. Um, so what do you think about it?
Well, I'm going to make a very interesting but a shorter video soon about the um, the different compartments of hell, and so this is a spoiler, maybe. Um, so
I mean, we've seen many pictures of those creatures, and they call them whatever, and they look like type of beasts, and the same type they have like a human body, and they can maybe little shape shift at sometimes certain like hypnotic influence to a person, so he can see like a person, but that is not a person, that is a predator in front of him. So it's like something like this, and people were researching it, and I mean, like 10 years ago there was even a book that was published online, but then they got rid of it, like totally erased it from all the web. There was book about research of the skulls. People were excavating on archaeological sites those
mm,
skulls. They were following the tracks of those people, of the migration, so-called migration, and they see that all the people went towards Indonesia, and in Indonesia they were like totally eaten by those who came after them, and those other creatures had like some type of different bone structure, different type of skull structure, and different type of teeth. So they called those small group of people who were eating all the rest, and they called them alpha dogs. But then I just started to look for this book maybe like a couple of years ago, and I couldn't find it anymore. Maybe you guys heard about this research, and somebody English speaking author was researching this stuff about alpha dogs. He called them alpha dogs, and those alpha dogs like had like 2% of population, and they were hunting down the rest and following the masses wherever the migration wave were going. those alpha dogs came after, and so was that was the theory. In fact, I read about it like in 2007, 2008, like something like this. Have you heard about something like this? Like we have different types of uh, creatures here.
Well, I think we had much more before the Great Flood, and also there has um, what do you say? The there has been findings of fossils, um, fossils of well, from the ocean that they found on top of the highest mountains of the world, and mud can make things get petrified or look petrified. So we have that, and also the amount of what do you say? That we have found so much. Not only this guy we mentioned about the hearts and kidneys and all that. So that could have also been from the the Great Flood, and so we have lots of petrified stuff from that. But we did talk about there might have been wars between the Marine Kingdom and heaven, uh, and the waters that heaven controls. There's always a war, a spiritual war. Um, I'm a one-woman army here in Sweden, so I'm also part of the army. But it's been going on for a long time before I started my little project here. Um, so, but anyway, so there is something. It's almost as if these. I don't know. Yeah, I want to get back to. It's kind of late for me, but so um, my brain is running slower than it's in the morning. I'm a morning person, so have patience with me. So, and I was gonna, I want to say, just want to say thank you, Timeline Shifter. That was very nice of you. So I'm trying to keep up here. Yeah, I want to talk about the different skulls that we've found evidence of, not only giants, but some have, these elonged heads and so forth. And there are still people who look a bit funny that you can see maybe they have some kind of heritage. But I think the real beasts that we've seen illustrations of with uh, snakes with the human heads on and dog heads on humans and crazy stuff. I think that comes from the pre-flood, the pre-Great Flood, and that's also why they were kind of extinguished. But somehow, um, I have more questions than answers. But we have found a lot of stuff from that period, I believe.
Yeah, it's like
So
that
that's
man.
evidence.
It's like that
Yeah.
man on the beach who was drawing a circle around him and saying like, "I'm inside this circle. This is what I know," and like several he's he stepped several step around this and drew like a bigger circle and said like, "This is what I will know," and the more I know, the more I don't know. So it's like, I mean,
Mm.
it's never ending story. Research never ends. I mean, it's okay when you doubt, when you have more questions than answers, because as long
Right, Ron.
as you
Sorry.
asking questions, you stop, all this research. So it's okay. I mean, the next idea, and you played a big part in it, is about this water connection to all this stuff. I mean, you have made a great list of words that connect
Yeah.
water. So, I mean, what are the biggest, best examples that you found?
Oh, the ones in the financial world. Yeah, that was banking. Um, I could get up my binder with my papers, but
Watermark, banking,
yeah, um,
liquidity,
liquidation. That's one of the biggest that you. Yeah,
liquidation itself
exactly.
is like, a big monster because,
That what that word really means. It's
it
destroying the
means what
ones who use the money.
destroying. Yeah, and liquid is like active. Liquid active is like the active you can sell or buy easy. And when the active is not liquid, non-liquid, is like it's very hard to sell it. So it's like the huge gap between the price of bid and ask, and so it's like okay to keep it long term, but it's not okay to sell it when you want it. So it's like
Mm.
not a very good active. But like I would say it's like about gold because gold is like objectively and artificially turned to be very non-liquid at certain point because you have to like buy only paper gold right now. You cannot turn it into physical gold because it's like costs a lot more and stuff like this. You have to
So
uh,
it's actually fake gold.
yeah, it could be fake gold and stuff. You have to pay somebody to say is this gold not fake or not. You have to make this certificate. You have to pay somebody to rent a little box for your gold and stuff like this. I don't know. So it's actually the best liquid active that we had before, but right now is they made it non-liquid actually. So what do you guys prefer to keep your savings in? Write us in the chat. So I mean, what type of active is like long-term safe haven for you? I mean, is this just a barrel and a gun, or I don't know, real estate? What do you keep your money's savings in? So, I mean, this is very connected. All this water stuff is connected, and all this terminology that they bring us with this marine laws and stuff like this. I mean,
Mm.
this is really the bombshell, I would
Yeah.
say.
Well, I think on one hand you have to live here now, and I have faith. So, but I also have some food and candles stored at home, mostly because if there's a power break or when there's a power break, then I can eat, and I have
Yeah,
fire, and I
it would be good if it would be just like this, a power break and no
yeah.
power at all. But what I'm trying to say is they want to do it like maybe for long-term crisis, like they had like in US when it was like a Great Depression for 20 years. People didn't know where to work, what was the employment rate, very low at that time, so no income at all. So and what do you say for these type of days, for those long crisis days? What do you say for with
Well, I think
are you ready
well,
for this type of crisis?
I'm not. I mean, my flesh does not want that because I want to be comfortable, warm. I want to be fed, and I want to have a easy life, of course. But I also welcome the rapture because I think we will all be put to the test, and well, I I have full faith for it's going to work out for me.
Yeah, okay.
I feel safe. I feel safe. So
what are you saying? That you are not ready. So I mean, and this is like 9 people out of 10 are not ready. It's okay to be not ready because nobody's ready for this stuff. This is like the missing chair game, and this game is what these water parasites brought us to play into. So we are playing this missing chair. It's just like when you see like this or that guy fall down and you just don't have any time to help him. It's like what we are playing right now. So this or that country dies, this or that group of people was killed and stuff like this. This is like never ending story. I mean, they playing it all over, round and round and round. So it's like, and this crisis is nobody's ready for the crisis. I mean, give me any example of any rich person who is ready for the crisis. Everybody wants to think that nothing's gonna happen to him, exactly to him, that it's like gonna be missing, passing by. But I'm not so pragmatic anymore. I mean, I'm more
Well,
pragmatic right now because I'm preparing for all this stuff. I mean, I'm trying to um, save as much money, save as much different type of currencies because maybe some currencies will not work anymore. Like maybe dollar or euro is just a good alternative. Like
mm,
to have like some in pounds and stuff like this. I mean, you a lot of money won't help you anyway. So I mean, you just have to have some money for like first period when you get adapted to all these new situations that can help.
mm,
So I mean, this is what I'm trying to save for. I'm not saving for long term. Long term is like impossible and very
yes.
dangerous because if people will know that you have money or something or something that's in precious, they probably gonna attack you and take it away from you. So you have to protect what you have. That's the other point of those crisis times because we had this crisis for 10 years in Russia. It was like in the 90s of the previous century, like it's 20th century 90s. And we had like people killing each and every day. So it's like was okay when you have like somebody dead next house or next building from you. And they were shooting AK-47s and stuff like this. So it was like,
Mm. Well, I would say it depends on the crisis. If there are man-made crises coming up, or if it's rapture, it's God's will. The scriptures prophesize. The prophecies are that it'll be fire coming, not water next time. And so,
so right now we're waiting for the fire, right?
yeah,
We have fire each and every day. So
yeah.
look
But
at
that
the
fire
everything
will
going
be,
on.
it will be, everything will burn. It will be a very big fire.
Yeah, people watching those
The sky
forest
will
fires.
split
Yeah.
in half.
Okay, so it's like a gas, some type of gas explosion or something. Or what do you try to say? Like,
Well,
how do you feel
I don't know
feel it? Is
how
it
God will solve it, but it will be supernaturally, physically. It will be on all levels. I actually read the book of Revelations today just for fun, just because.
what do you think if some people say that like when it's written in a book, you just cannot imagine something, and
No, it will be even. You
so
know.
the prophecy had to be like he was supposed to have some type of vision or something, like
Mm,
he's like saying in the beginning of these revelations, like we're talking about the John, right? So probably
yeah.
he like had some visions. I mean, and so you cannot like describe it in other words. So I mean, when he's like talking about some type of beast coming out of the water or whatever, like he was like that beast with 666 stuff like this. So
Yes.
so I mean, he's trying to describe it in different words and stuff like this. So I mean, it's like you cannot translate it or you cannot describe it because you saw something but you don't know what it is. So that's why you say all these allegoric creatures like dragons, like beasts, or maybe it just was like a tank or a jet plane. I don't know. So
You
I mean,
know,
that's what my theory is also they were watching something that was highly technological and they couldn't have, um, comprehend what it is. So that's why they were using all these metaphoric, allegoric creatures that might even not be even a live thing. That was probably some type of object of flying or crawling or maybe some tank. I don't know. Maybe some flamethrower. Who knows? But it was impressive for them, and that's why they called it some type of creatures. Maybe it was like we had like a German tank that was called Tiger. So somebody would say the tiger shot at me, and we like say, "Are you crazy? Tigers don't shoot." And he said, "No, it was real tiger. I know. It was written on it. It was tiger." So I mean, it's like, and they're gonna argue, and everybody's gonna be right because tigers don't shoot, but the other one is right because he read it was tiger. So I mean, and everybody was calling it tiger. So, and I mean, it's uh, it's metaphorical and allegorical from my point of view. But I also read it like many times when I was a kid, when I was like a teenager, and when I was like a little older, like around 20, 23, 23 years old. I read it 3 times, and each and every time I had a different comprehension of what's going to happen. So, and right now, what I know is like probably it could be told as a story that happened before. So, I mean, have anyone in actual life, like what we know, actually was very good to predict the future, like this, write it in metaphoric way, like not Nostradamus or whoever else, and it's totally 100% true.
oh yeah. I mean,
Yes,
it's been
so it's possible, right? So it's
yes,
possible. And
yes.
what I'm trying to say, when that we have to read all those sources, we have to read all those books and find all those clues, and maybe um, think about it as not real creatures or real objects, or maybe some technological objects. I mean, try to decrypt it in more modern comprehension. Maybe then we can understand what it was, because like people were reading fairy tales 100 years ago about the plate with an apple and the image that was showing some pictures and like it was looking like a plate. And right now we know a plate is like a tablet, or an apple is like a loading process of that tablet. So I mean, it's easy for not for us to understand what was written in the fairy tale. So, I mean, the time comes, we know more, we understand more technology, we understand how things work, and we can understand what's decrypted in those books, in
Mm.
ancient books like Bible and stuff like this.
Yes, but also I think the supernatural aspect is important because often we we think almost as if it's a religion. We look up to technology as if it's only technology. Supernatural uh, technology, quote unquote, uh, is the spiritual realm. It's something beyond technology, and I think um, we should also, um, really look at that aspect. These,
Yeah, if we believe in creation, we have to understand that the creator itself making this world non-natural at all, because he making it artificial in terms of that the creator itself is not a 0 point. He came from something, right? He
mm,
was like um, growing up, and maybe I don't know how the creator came up of nowhere.
I
It's
think he's
impossible.
always been. He's the
So
same.
he's always
He's
been, and
always
something
been, and
changed.
he will always be,
So if he
and he's
always been
always been
and
the same.
something was also with him, right? He wasn't alone at all. So you cannot be always alone, because if you're always alone, then you are nowhere. So somebody probably been with him, and maybe he was in some type of location at least.
Mm.
So can call it universe. We can call it mm, plane, Earth, whatever. So
Mm.
somebody has to be started from something. So I mean, you cannot just appear out of nowhere. So if you cannot appear from out of nowhere, then you suppose that it probably was loaded. That's the only way you can explain it in the technologies that we know right now. If it was loaded by some program or some printer imprinted from some material that could be used to imprint it. So I
Mm.
mean, that's the technology we can observe and we can touch and we can use, and we can make something out of some material, and it can be appeared in some type of shape, and we can observe it, and we can contain it, and we can put some biological creatures inside of it, and watch it at least. So
Mm.
this is what is understandable at our small, very low level of comprehension of what's going on. So Richard Lopez thinks that all this place is a construct. So I mean, this is not the idea the mudflat was bringing, but what the mudflat was like, one explanation of the mudflat was like, if this is a container, then you can use this ideal gas explanation of stuff like so the high pressure is uh, pressing out some type of mud solutions out of underground or from whatever, maybe some sources that are outside, like you said before about the Great Flood. So
Mm.
who knows, maybe it's a contract construct, and this mud is like some type of liquid that was using here for some constructions, or maybe some processes that we don't know. Maybe it's called the geology right now, but we don't know actually what it is in artificial way, not the natural way, because geology describes it as a natural process. But if it's a construct, it's not a natural process. It's that material that we are looking for, and that material that could imprint mountains, or I don't know, hills, right?
But on the other hand, many mountains seem to have been trees. There are
And
trees from.
house is also made from clay, right? So
Yes,
I mean, you cannot ignore that because all these houses that we observe, all those
aussichtslos.
ancient houses, all the red brick is clay. So I mean,
Tjena. I'm just saying hello to my Swedish
you've got
audience.
all the bricks in Stockholm, as far as I know, right? Or a bunch of bricks.
I got all of them.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So I mean, where did all this clay come from? I mean, people
Mhm.
were not mining it at all. I mean, it was all around, so probably it was as a disaster as a building material also. So I mean, as a resource.
Yes. Yeah. What else? I did find my notes on the banking system.
Oh,
You want
really?
to do some
Yeah. Just
recap,
pass through
and
some
also if you
greatest
wanted
one.
to me to tell you about my house story. Sacleo told his story,
Oh, okay.
and you did
Okay.
told your story. So, do you want to start with that? Or do
I
you want
have
to
to
do
tell you
the
something.
what?
I have to tell you something.
I know what you're going to say. Okay. Yeah, that compartments, those cellars. Yes, I'm listening.
You want me to tell it again?
No, no. Well, maybe for the viewers or the listeners, maybe they want to hear that again. Uh, it was very interesting.
Yeah, it was like some type of colored world. So when you have all those lucid dreaming practices, you sooner or later you fall into this colored world. Everybody falls in it. So it's like I don't know how do you call it, dream world, where every color is like very bright and stuff like this, and it's like very colorful, very like when you watch like a bad TV, like old analog TV, and then you start watching the full HD or 4K Sony Bravia LED screen, full colored, like brilliant type of quality video. So it's like very huge impact, and you won't miss this world if you find it in your dreams. Just it's that world for sure. Everybody was there who was practicing. So I mean, I saw this type of lake. I don't know, like very interesting lake, and I jumped into this lake, and I appeared in this underground facility of I don't know how do you call it, these prisons on the side, or these cell blocks, and in each cell block there was like a person who was there. I don't know, some type of like gray shadow person, I would call it, but I could see
Hmm.
that it was human. So it was like human, and we even talked. I said like, step out. I opened the door. I said like, step out, go with me, and they just said, why? What are you doing here? Like they didn't want to go out. They were even trying to ask me what I'm doing there. So it's like I wouldn't understand why they didn't want to go with me, because I was like letting them out, and they just were stubborn to stay. So and then like people started surrounding me, all those guards, so black type of creatures. I don't know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
dark one, and they like had all those sharp things like knives or something. And I see like they surrounded me, and then something like pulled me out of this stuff, and I was very like wet and stuff like this. I don't know. So I was very everything was wet around me, so I was like
Mm.
very scared, I would say. And that was the experience with this underground.
But also,
And I
you
also
try
was
to let.
running on the walls, and
Yeah,
from those black creatures, I was like punching them and like I don't know, playing them, trolling them, and they couldn't find me. And then I was like locked in one cell, and I was trying to pull the person out, and they
yeah.
started to surround me, and that was like a hunt. I was like, ouch, I can escape, and somebody will just pulled me out of this place. I don't know how it happened.
That's
Like
so cool.
some guardian. I don't know. Like,
Ah,
do you have like something like
your angel, maybe.
saint guardian? I would say like your saint that's
By
guard.
Michael, angel.
Angel. You call it angel. Okay.
Uh, there are many angels. Heaven has many angels. It's so interesting with the water, uh, because I this was back in the day, and that was back in the party days, and I had lent some kind of new age book or something, and it was about the first page started with. So I opened the book and I started reading it, and when I started reading the first page, it was about one of the pyramids, and the author who wrote about this book was describing one of those so-called um, what casts, where the body lays, but we know that we don't know, but we don't believe that's the story, the official story. But anyway, so he described that he had laid down in the tomb, and when I read that, I had only read like a paragraph of the book, and then I just left my body. I went into it was like an old mud flood castle, but it was like in the cellar because it had no light, and the walls were brownish, blackish, dark, and kind of wet from humidity, and it was ancient, very old, or star fort. I don't know what it was, but it was very old. And in the bottom floor, no light. I was saying there was this well of water, and it has such a strong pull. And somehow I felt I was not supposed to be pulled there, and I was being, pulled so hard, and it was like a struggle. And I got closer and closer, and under the water was fire, hellfire. Okay, so for me it was a tug of war, and I was trying not to get into the fire, because there I would have been consumed, because it was just fire, there. But it was interesting, there was water on top of the fire, huh? Just like the world I described in this pyramid universe, pyramid Earth video I did the other day. And then somehow I managed to get strength, and there was, so it kind of appeared, I could see some stairs along the wall. So I got away from this pit of hell, and I started climbing this wall and these stairs, and they were just on the side of the wall. And then a kind of door appeared in the wall, and it was, the skies. I was up in heaven, and there I met the glowing man.
Was it like light
It
or
was just light. It was just the whitest, glowing, the most glowing thing I've ever seen, and never seen anything like it after that. And I walked just like you would think if you walk on water. I walked on air. So I walked out there, and he spoke to me, and I knew who was, and it was a language that was with no words. So it went on for I don't know how many hours. But then I was taken from there, and I also thought I was gonna die. No, that I was dead then. And then I was in a white waiting room for a long time after that. So it was and then I came back to my body, and I was sort of slammed back into my body, so I could feel it all the way down to my feet.
how much time did it pass, like when he was unconscious?
I don't know, hours, I think. Yeah.
So nobody was around. I mean, nobody
No,
felt something strange or something about you.
no, I was alone.
Okay, very interesting.
And it's interesting. Yeah, it's so interesting, because it kind of sums. It's also like that dream I told you about, with the sun and the water, and being immersed in water, and then coming up in the sun.
Because when I was with my wife, I woke up. Definitely, my wife was, "Why you so wet, man? What the hell is going on?" She was also scared because I was like, "Oh."
But I have
Funny, I
another.
didn't wake up my kids though. It was like very lucky to know
So you didn't freak them out, no?
because I was like very very scared that time. I don't know.
Yeah. Just so some dreams and some kind of revelations that are smaller
Yeah,
prophecies that you can find.
the time I had this thing one more time. I was like type of wet, and like that night my grandfather got sick and died. Like, I mean, and I found out about it in the morning. I mean, I felt something like a rock passed through my kidney stone, something,
Yeah.
and I was like, it was like very painful process, and was like around 24 years old, and was like first time I had like this something strange, and I was like totally wet, and I was like, also I remember that case after it. So I mean, very interesting. So when you feel something with your relatives or like your close friends and this connection, and you feel it. I mean, it's not a coincidence. I think
Mm.
this is all related. I mean, all these Navi dreaming worlds that could be connecting all of us, in some certain information field that we don't feel in real life, and this is what you call spiritual level, I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think about it? Are we all connected, or we are just plugged in the system and maybe
No, I
some?
think it's more spiritual. It's much more. We are much more valuable than that. I think if we kind of just accept the technology life or world, or we're eating, shitting, and consuming technology, that is, I wouldn't want to live like that. Uh, my life would not have a purpose. So, what else? No, also something I thought that might interest you were also another dream I had, and it was as if I was in some kind of future, and I had there was this watch, and somehow I was struggling or fighting with time, and it was just, I don't remember all the details about that, but the thing was, it was so it was a real nightmare. So I really want to get out of the dream, but the thing was, I kind of tumbled around in my bed and out of my bed on the floor, and this technology, because it was a bit like, the technology that this was way before this was, 15 or 20 years ago, and that technology, the video I did with the it was a bit of tribute to your videos as well, with the glove with the electricity and all that.
Oh, okay.
That kind of, it was just super high tech, but it also had to do with time. So, and this, it was almost as it had its own power because it was evil, this technology. So it had kind of, so it was stuck to my arm, and I was fighting with it when I came out of the dream, and it was still on my arm, and it took a while. And I've had a few dreams that the dream, whatever was in the dream, does not leave me, and I had to fight it. I also been fighting a wolf that was in a dream, and it was during the same period. And then I was still fighting it when I woke up. So it took a while before it left. So when you speak about that water, yeah. So I think it's possible because I've seen it. So.
So what are you working right now on? What is your, like, poss- what ideas are you working on right now?
Well, it's the different compartments of hell. So I'm trying to map it up. So it's also, when I spoke about, I'm studying. I just read through the Bible from front to cover to all of it. I just needed to freshen up, and also I kind of speed read it. So I wanted to do a crazy read. So I read it in 2 weeks. It's true. So that's why I didn't make videos for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had some time, so I just put everything aside. But the thing was, I was so inspired by this man on fire, this David Hogan and his wife. They had made a bet, and they decided to read the Bible in 30 days, and I thought, I'm going to do it in 14. So I got just, the thing is, and I was kind of expecting something super cool to happen also. When you do these things, some people might think, oh, you're just doing it because you're a sucker, or you're boring. No, it's the other way around. You know what happened? I just a couple of days after I had finished, I was kind of exhausted, I can tell you. uh, Especially the Old Testament. But I found parallels and, words to stand on. It's like you can, you know, it's awesome. Anyway, so not only the healings, but you can really change things that you cannot do without this glowing man.
Yeah, okay. It's
Okay,
like
so
it's
but
like when you want to ask a scientist a question that he cannot answer,
yeah,
just ask him what is he trying to research, right? So it's
okay,
like,
okay, okay, okay. I will tell you more about it. But also, I
yeah,
just want to say,
the hell, you're gonna start the levels of hell, right? So it's like, very interesting topic because I don't know
yeah,
who
yeah.
else did it. Well, Dante Alighieri, that the book about the hell, Nine Circles of Hell. Have you read it?
I may have read it when I was, in the gymnasium years. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
in
so.
high
But I
school.
don't, I don't, yeah, I don't remember the details.
Yeah, you might as well
Yes.
check it out. It's like has a bunch of all these. Uh, I wouldn't say it's imaginary book, but it's very
No, I think it's based on the Bible a lot.
powerful. This,
There's so many
yeah, yeah.
things.
So it
Yeah.
was like,
So anyway, this might freak some people out, but first of all, I've studied some other people who pray and fast, and they're really warriors. And some people, they describe when you either somehow when you've been stuck in your spiritual life. Some people have, this man's particularly, he actually fast like 10 days to get more information about this, but
you mean he didn't
he
eat? He didn't eat for 10
yeah,
days, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good practice, in fact.
it is so cool. I love it. Anyway, I'm all over the place now, but he described it as sometimes when you get stuck, and it really, he kind of got the image of the vision of what it kind of looked like, resembled like, and it was when he was blocked. These people who also experienced this, it's as if the connection, it's almost like it's made of concrete. It's like clouds made of concrete, so you can't get through. And I was feeling a bit stuck for a while here, and I also fasted here recently, like 2 weeks ago, or 10 days ago or something. I had a shorter fast, like 5 days. And then but also when after the reading this reading the scriptures in 14 days, the sky opened. I can still see the sky open. And I had small little, devils looking like incubus, succubus, kind of brownish, blackish, trollish, they were raining down because they fell down from this blockage. And I just directed them, down to the pit, under the feet, Christ, and so forth. So if I would have met these guys and seen them fall down from this this open sky, I would have been so freaked out. But where I am right now, it was just, it was also as if there were old prayers that had not been resolved, and lots of old stuff that just opened up. So yeah. I don't know if
Yeah,
you understood what I said. I mean, if it was awkward or something, but it had not. I don't think this would have happened if I had not read the scriptures.
some
I
some
get proof of this all the time. You know,
somebody,
prayer, fasting, scriptures. Boom. Yeah.
yeah, somebody was already singing this song. It's raining man, right?
Yeah.
It's raining with devil.
Raining, raining.
Yeah, all the men's like all the hairy devils. They wanna grab your breakfast. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, very interesting talking to you today, and I hope you guys were not fell down and because it's too late already in Europe. I mean,
But it's even later at your
yeah, we already have
here
on
at night.
1 a.m. I almost fell down before this chat because I had to like rinse myself with ice cold water for a couple of minutes at least.
Oh, you could have rescheduled. You can
No, no,
always do
no.
that
It's
if
just
you're tired. I I'm so lucky. I'm not. I have my camera turned off, but I mean, I yawn and I, sometimes even burp a little because I drink water. But you don't do that. So I really admire you. I can always turn off the sound.
okay. Yeah, very nice talking to you, and hope we can expand more on and finish up with Marine Kingdom stuff like this. Make maybe like a collaboration video which we can post cross post on both channels. I mean that would be good. I mean
Yes.
if you get prepared with your statement part and work it on mic and make some video footage or pictures on the slideshow while you're talking, and I also combine it with my stuff, what I have on
On the
my.
banking or the the one. Do you want to do a recap on the banking system and
Yeah. All this water connection, just the points that the
yeah?
connection of parasites to the water. I mean, your points, my points, and we can combine it to one video and make it like maybe a little. I can edit it up and
Yeah,
make
yeah.
it more pretty than it is like right now,
You
because I
can
want it
also
also
use the
to.
one we made. I made the edit.
No, that video was a chat type of video. Chat type of video
Yeah,
has bad sound. I mean, I want the clear sound from what you record on your PC. I mean, direct sound,
yeah.
and make it a file and send it right back to me so I can edit up with my stuff, and it would be a
Mm,
better sound and a better quality video than it is right now.
yeah. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks a
Be
lot for the
blessed. Be
show.
blasted.
Yeah,
Okay.
nice,
Thank you.
nice chat. See you later, guys.
Okay.
Just leave
Bye.
the chat after because exactly has to stay
Yes.
here for 15 minutes, I think, after the chat was over and people like
Yeah.
staring what he's doing. It was a postscriptum, I said.
I'll
So
turn off. Hang up with the red.
just head up. Yeah, see you later.
Yes. Okay. Bye.